So, good afternoon, gentlemen. I think we are representing like three weather zones around the country right now. It's raining in Bombay. It's sort of tantalizing in Bengaluru, and it's baking hot in Delhi. So we're just waiting for the rains to come one day. Given that diversity of weather, this there's a lot of things I think which are happening in the hospitality sector, which are interesting us. I mean, like I think these are interesting green shoot developments which need to be watched and studied carefully, and which have long-term implications. And one of the big development has been the entry of five-star hotels and fine dining restaurants into the business of takeaways and home deliveries. As we all know that the vertical of takeaways and home deliveries are supposed to be a $8 billion business. Now, $8 billion business by the year 2022. Now, very impressive projections. Now, we have to therefore maybe place our entire discussion in the context of the future of this new big move that the new big development that we're seeing on the ground, where home deliveries seem to have become the big business. Normally, the chairman of the India Expo Mart Limited, the organizers of IHE 2020, Mr. Rakesh Kumar would have been here to formally open the webinar, but he's preoccupied today. So I think we'll just start.
Good evening, Saurabh. Yes, you can start, but Dadu sir was about to join to give the inaugural speech.
Okay,
just wait for 2-3 minutes. He is having certain connection issues.
Okay,
if it is done, then fine. Else we can.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
For 2 minutes.
So so basically, you've seen the brief that I've sent across. Mr. Hari Dadu, who's the president of IHE 2020, and he's quite a well-known person in his own right. In the ceramics business, he's treated as a very, very big player. And I think, Anurag, you must be knowing, apparently, Digustivus Hospitality is a major buyer of Mr. Dadu's crockery and tableware.
Yes, we do.
And even Olive, for that matter, AD's companies have been buying from him. Mr. Dadu will be joining if there are no connectivity issues. Otherwise, we'll go on, and Mr. Dadu can come at the end and sort of share his vote of thanks with us. So as of now, the word I'm getting is that we have a pretty already a lot of people have started coming in. One of our most regular attendees is Mr. Radhakrishnan he's the principal of IHM Bangalore. So if anyone is an IHM Bangalore alumnus or alumna, please, wave out to him, Mr. Venkatadri Radhakrishnan. Welcome again. And of course, we are slowly, like always, we have a mix of people a lot of people from the industry, who are from the supporting industries, the suppliers and the developers. They are joining us. I see Mr. Sanjay Kullar, who's a well-known name in the banqueting sphere. Yes, sent his hi to everyone. Well, we'll have to. Niranjan, shall we start, and Mr. Dadu can join us?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, maybe we can give a more extended speech at the end.
No problem. We can.
Okay, great. So we have a panel of 7 people who I think bring different types of experience to the table. So I will begin with Anurag Katrayar, who is the president of the National Restaurant Association of India, and who's also been the man behind a very successful restaurant brand called Indigo. He is the director and CEO of Digastibus Hospitality. So he has seen the restaurant business from very close quarters and for a long time. Now, we are seeing this sudden spurt in home deliveries and takeaways. Do you think it's a business here to stay? I'm particularly interested in this in the light of the most recent announcement by Google that is getting into the business, home delivery business also. And Amazon is also getting ready to make its foray. Um, Please, Van, I'll just sort of, okay, no, okay, yeah, please. I like your opening thoughts on this whole business and how it's shaping up.
Hi. Thank you, everyone, first of all. And thank you, Sarishda. I think delivery business is on an upswing for a while now. And the current pandemic and the resultant lockdown has actually accelerated the pace because, when restaurants are shut, it's like almost like saying like if rivers have dried up, you need to dig a well somehow to make sure that you don't remain thirsty, which essentially also doesn't mean that a well can replace a river. A restaurant business will remain a restaurant business. And to me, delivery business for a restaurant will always be that additional source of income and an augmentation to your revenue rather than becoming the mainstream itself. That's my personal thought.
As of now, I mean, of course, I'm talking about the pre-COVID period. How big was a home delivery business for an average restaurant? Say
10 to 12%. 10%. 10%
10%.
Indigo.
Yeah.
But generally also across, if you look at the restaurants, see, I also have a QSR business which was hugely fueled by delivery only, like Indigo Burger Project and Neel Ki Biryani. There we were doing up to 1,000 orders a day between them. But those were only, I mean, those were meant for that. But if you look at Indigo Delhi, it was never more than 10%.
Right.
And having said that, I think there is also a reason why good restaurants need to come into delivery. If you look at the current scare in the minds of the people, it's largely around the hygiene practice and the safety of the food that is traveling to me, whether in the restaurant or at my doorsteps. And that's where I think established brand name, whether it's like a hotel like ITC or a restaurant like Olive, there is a certain sense of assurance that comes with it that they will follow the basic, tenets of safety and hygiene protocol. And I think that is one of the reasons why I feel there will be a bit of a change in the way this delivery business is happening. Lots of established name will come forward in that. But unfortunately, because of the security, safety, and hygiene concerns, many of those what I call unknown cloud kitchens who operated from somewhere behind the beyond will probably miss out a bit on this. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting development which has been triggered because of the pandemic. And I think it will continue to grow. Only the pace is debatable. I don't know at what pace will it grow. But one thing is very certain for very what I call food-centric restaurants, deliveries can never become the mainstream.
That's right. So, by the way, welcome, Mr. Dadu. I was just saying that you are the brain behind IHE, the India Hospitality Expo. Our discussion, as you see, has started. So, we'll keep your words for the end of the discussion. I hope it's okay. दादू साहब मंजूर है?
हाँ सर जी सर, कोई बात नहीं, चलिए मैं बाद में सबको जो है धन्यवाद दे दूंगा।
अच्छा, आपके कुछ मेजर क्लाइंट्स भी हैं, आप देखेंगे
लिंक नहीं हो पाया था कुछ में, लिंक नहीं हो पा रहा था, स्लाइटली लेट, नो प्रॉब्लम। सबका मैं स्वागत करता हूँ, सभी हमारे जो पैनलिस्ट है सबका स्वागत करता हूँ। सर आप कंटिन्यू कीजिए, फिर हम बात करते हैं। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
So Atul, you have entered the business quite recently now. It's been about 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, it's 4 weeks since we launched the second one, but we started in the month of April. Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine.
But okay, go ahead.
Yeah. No. So basically, what I was seeing that you have invested a lot. I mean, you have very good packaging and and you're giving some of your best products, for home deliveries. You also have given your clients or your customers the choice of either having the deliveries through Swiggy or Zomato, or having your own people deliver, and your people come with all the requisite PPE gear and masks and all that. Now, like, do you think in the long run it is a business that will keep you interested? Is it a business that is cost effective?
So, yes, our learning has been there from this business, and when the lockdown started, and not to get disconnected with our consumer, we started this business. And though we used to do home delivery earlier also, but that was just as a facility, not as a business. But now we've created this vertical completely, and we launched two verticals. First, initially we launched in April was flavors, which is all-day dining kind of a food, and then Gourmet Couch has been launched 3 weeks back. And this is the food from our signature restaurants, and that's what we did. But I think going forward, the consumer is looking at the hygiene and the safety part of it, and that we deliver through our reassure protocol, what we have launched. And I don't think normalcy is going to come in a near future. It's going to take some time. By that time, this is going to form a habit, and this will certainly will become one part of a revenue vertical for the industry, and not only ITC, but I think Taj, Oberoi, Hyatt, Marriott, everybody is getting into this completely, and this will form some part of a habit where this will continue. This business is here to stay, and some part of your covers or the revenues from the restaurants what we are losing, some part of it will get covered by this vertical.
So that's good news. In fact, I mean, for the consumer, it's particularly interesting because as our the topic of a discussion says, you're bringing fine dining home. So if there are lots of possibilities which are opening up. Zorawar, you have also launched your bow tie menu for takeaways and home delivery. Yeah, and what are the initial learnings that came your way? What has been your first round of experience been?
So we also traditionally haven't dabbled with delivery. We always believe that we run experiential restaurants, and as such, before the COVID happened, none of our restaurants were delivering. Just to be able to give a good, consistent experience to the guests that dined in was always our top priority. Naturally, with times changing, everybody has to adapt. Nobody thought you could get yummy dampukht and Bukhara food at home. As I told Atul in the lead up in the lobby session of this talk, I really enjoyed ordering from there a few days ago. So if you can start getting similar gourmet experiences at home, I think it's definitely a positive for the consumer who could not go out, and obviously in these circumstances cannot go out even if they want to. However, as Anurag said, delivery is only going to augment existing sales. It can never replace dine-in sales. The unit economics of standalone restaurants do not function if you do delivery. Traditionally, delivery has been between 10 to 20% for the best of restaurants. Even if you consider that going forward, once the lockdown ends and all of that, the delivery goes up, even if it gets doubled, and the dining sales, say, comes down to half, you're still running at 40% of original numbers. So to say that delivery is like a godsend, I think it's only partially true. I think definitely it'll help you, as Atul said, to re-engage, to constantly be in touch and to occupy mind space of the consumer is perhaps one of the major reasons people like ITC that focus on experiential restaurants are delivering. I don't know the kind of numbers long run that will be generated once dine-in opens, but definitely it's a positive thing. The foray of Google into the whole fray, as announced yesterday, is also going to make the whole delivery business a lot more interesting. But let me put it this way. Restaurants are the last bastion of hope for offline human social engagement. Everything can go offline, but restaurants can never go offline. bars and the experiences that they provide their consumers and their patrons can never go offline. And as such, I firmly believe that we're going to bounce back at some point in time. Till then, utilize the delivery wave, definitely ride it, definitely use it to engage with the consumer, perhaps create another ancillary business. A lot of the big companies like Anurag mentioned the Indigo Burger project. A lot of the other big fine dine companies or dine-in companies are now focusing on building delivery-only brands. And the brands that have worked very hard, people like AD, Anurag, myself, we all have worked very hard over the years to build brands that people rely on, that people have enjoyed their special occasions in, that people trust from a food safety and hygiene perspective. And as a result, I think it's time that we are going to get the benefit of that. When a person goes through Zomato, Swiggy, Amazon, or Google, they'll tend to order more from restaurants that they've dined at. They'll tend to order more from hotels that they constantly engage with. Because they know that there'll be basic standards that will be maintaining the food that will come to their house, will have gone through several checks, will be absolutely safe, and no stone would have been left unturned. But definitely it's a wave. Cloud kitchens along with delivery, I think, is going to occupy a larger piece of the revenue pie for companies. I think that's the way to look at it. It's not going to save us from a zero dine-in situation, but will definitely protect us and create for a softer landing.
Right. So, Eddie, I think Zorawar just talked about a softer landing, which, if we say a restaurant like Olive, it's all about the experience, and of course, that's even true about a restaurant like Botai or Papaya or, Indigo. Now, how can you replace the experience in a home delivery model? What kind of excitement do you think you can inject into home deliveries, especially in these times when no one is sort of going out?
So, Suresh, in fact, the subject of today's webinar about fine dining at home and the discussion about the whole delivery market. They're actually two different segments. Most of the business of the home delivery business is really not looking for a fine dining experience, but looking for good, tasty food that can provide variety, can augment what they're making at home, give themselves a special treat, etc. The amount of people who are willing to spend on recreating the restaurant experience, the food, the beverage, the music, everything, is a very small niche. All of us, I'd say, Anurag, I don't know some of the hoteliers on the chat as well, but Anurag, Zorawar, myself, all of us, we've been working with our teams to create unique and special experiences for diners at home. Comes at a price, but it's innovative, different, catchy. For example, we have something from the Olive in Delhi where you can actually get the chef on the phone and he talks you through preparation of the food. And so those obviously more expensive for us and for them. But that's something different,
Right.
And like that, many innovative new ideas have come into this space.
So, do you have a situation where, like a lot of your guests who may be living in farmhouses, could be throwing parties now, they sort of employ your chefs for the day, and sort of ask them to, why don't you prepare a meal for us or curate a meal for us which you can serve at the party. As a situation like that comes, that will be another kind of like a home delivery experience. Yeah.
So as Anurag and Zorawar, everybody said before me, Suresh, we're all looking for all ways to stay connected to our customers. They are the reason we are in business. And we have the operational skills, food skills, etc., whether to cater for a party at home, whether to send food across, whether to create special experiences. However, and I think that is an interesting thing for our viewers to note, all of us have spent all these years in creating great dining experiences, food, service, beverage, warmth, music, the complete experience, lighting. And now, pre-COVID, just like Zorawar said, and Anurag, even for us, delivery was not an important part of our business, was not our focus. Numbers were negligible, under 10%, and it really wasn't our business. Now we've all had to pivot. This is a business that we're all taking seriously. As the virus lingers on, the lockdowns extend, delivery is actually providing some source of revenue. And my own assessment is that even when everything normalizes to the new normal, delivery will continue to be an important aspect of our future earnings, make up for losses in business that we all expect to see.
Right.
And so all of us are actually now pivoting, Suresh, building teams, a focus, a strategy, and applying our best skills to try to develop the delivery business.
Right. That's very heartening to know. And that brings me to you, Sumit. Sumit, you have not only Sumit, can you hear me? Sumit. Okay, there's some problem with. Okay, so now that we have lost Sumit, I will come to you. Sumit, can you hear me? Unmute yourself, please. Soman, coming to you.
Yes.
Oh, okay, Sumit, yeah, you can hear me now.
Yes.
Because you have been pretty aggressively pushing the home delivery business for the last at least 4 months, from earlier. What are the changes you're seeing, say, pre-COVID and post-COVID in your home delivery business? How big or better it has become? What are the, experiences that have shaped the way your business is moving forward?
Sarish, we have been doing delivery with Spice Market since 2011. So it's been quite a while.
Okay.
And about 3-4 years ago, delivery accounted for about 30 to 40% of our overall revenue. So delivery has been very important to us for a long time now. And
the Spice Market as such it's a very niche restaurant. You have a seating capacity of how 32?
Now, yes. Now it's under 30 seats, but we've always been a 70-seat restaurant for
right.
10 years before that.
Right.
But last year we decided to shift our delivery business separately to a different kitchen because, the sheer volume, we were not able to handle it at the restaurant. There was a bottleneck in growth.
Right.
We wanted to treat that as a separate business. So, which is why last year in April 2019, we opened a cloud kitchen for Spice Market. Right. And I think we saw considerable growth since then because, our deliveries were much faster. We were more efficient. And dine-in, the restaurant became a complete dine-in facility. We kept the menu separate. The pricing, menu, dishes, everything was different. It was more like leveraging the brand and, giving different experiences in delivery and dine-in. And then we've added some more cloud brands from the kitchen over the last 7 to 8 months. So,
yeah. So now how many cloud brands do you have?
We are running about 6 brands right now, including Spice.
Okay. Yeah, from the same kitchen?
Yes, from the same kitchen.
So, I mean, that's another possibility that, one kitchen can actually produce multiple brands.
No, we have a large kitchen, honestly, because we opened it as a delivery and catering kitchen. So,
right.
And then 7-8 months back, when we were seeing good growth in delivery, we started focusing more on deliveries than catering. Yeah. And I think now we have brands in different price points from 200 rupees an order to 1500 rupees an order, all price points, all kinds of segments we are covering with our brands.
Coming now to the 800-pound gorilla in the room, you have been going through Swiggy and Zomato from the beginning.
Yes, we are doing both Swiggy, Zomato, and our own deliveries as well.
Okay, now what is the split between your deliveries and Swiggy and Zomato?
So I think it has increased. The online delivery share has increased over the last 5 years.
Right.
I think at the moment, around 70-75% deliveries happen through the aggregators, and about 25% happen through directly. Right. But obviously, the new brands are pretty much, I think, 90% online.
Right. So now, given the kind of, the commissions that are charged by aggregators,
Yeah.
I mean, do they make economic sense? I mean, we had the whole logout. We had the whole logout movement under Anurag's leadership before the lockdown happened. What has been your experience?
No, honestly, I have a different view to it. I think the Indian market is way behind on the price points. Overall, as a general market, I'm not speaking for dine-in or cloud brands. I'm not speaking for the entire market. The price points are much lower than what they ought to be. Even if you try to remove the aggregators, you will increase your costs, payroll costs, your self-delivery costs, and you probably end up spending that much at the moment. I think the price points have to increase over the next 1 or 2 years to support quality brands. And aggregators, even though 20-25% is on the higher side, but I think they give a good value add to your business, because you don't have to answer the phones anymore. You don't have to depute so many people in answering the phones or doing the deliveries. You only focus on what is your core quality, which is cooking the food and packing it. That's about it. So
right.
I think we have to figure out a way to work with aggregators at a mutually favorable terms. In the long run, single brand apps, I don't think people will download too many single brand or even a 4-brand app.
Right, right. So you feel that what I call a mixed delivery model is something which, I mean, like, everyone is trying it out. I think whether you talk to Atul or you talk to yourself, the mixed delivery model seems to be working.
Yes, I think so. For us, yes.
Okay. Anurag, I'll come back to you on that. Especially, I'll talk to you about the app that the NRA itself is sort of developing. I wish there was a representative of the Taj group, IHCL, who could talk about the Cumin app, but that's still some time away. So they really don't want to discuss too much about it. Coming, do you, Savanna, like, as today, if you've seen, the panel represents different kinds of, like, within the vertical, there are a lot of sub spaces, a lot of niche, businesses. So we try to sort of, we are trying to tap the different niche businesses. One of them is, pop-ups by home chefs. Or not necessarily home chefs, I would say chefs who are running their independent small restaurants and need a little boost in terms of marketing and presence in the and presence. So, Samana, you have this whole company which has done 10 presentations in Bombay, in Bangalore, with chefs who are up and coming but very talented. And just now, I think you've completed one such pop-up in Delhi. What has been your experience?
So thank you, Sarish. I'd like to first of all inform you that the tantalizing weather has turned into a huge downpour in Bangalore.
Wow, okay, that's good news.
It's good news. It reflects across the work that we all do.
Right.
With our experience, this whole company, when we started last year, is really a platform for creators to come together and create intimate experiences and concepts. So from across food and art and culture. So when the lockdown happened, the idea was there were really two agendas that we had in mind. One was how do we elevate the overall home dining experience, which a lot of the panelists here have spoken about, and I think with some of these restaurants, fine dining concepts, opening up delivery, that's already happening in people's homes now more than before. And I think the overall experience of eating at home has gone from just being something transactional to more of an experience. And the other point for us was really about making the chefs the front and center of the experience. So for all the editions that we have done in Bangalore, the format has been very simple, where we've gotten between 5 to 6 chefs together. Some of them well-known chefs in the city running their own independent restaurants. Some of them home chefs, and the idea was really, what if we brought a dream team of chefs together for a weekend's menu with a specific theme, and they churn out a menu with a, normal starters and appetizers and main courses and drinks, and we manage the delivery for them. So I think in the 10 editions that we've seen in Bangalore, what's been interesting is uh, one, the power of collaboration. When chefs kind of come together with one common theme, just their interpretations. We've been very specific on not having dishes from their restaurant menus. So for it to be something that is either reflective of, stuff that they're interested in doing right now, or, other experiments that they're, been doing around their own restaurants itself. I'm sorry. Yeah. And I think for consumers, I think the interesting part has been that this is a changing menu. Every week it's something completely new. We've had themes like, festival themes like an Eid or an Easter, which are anyway family kind of festivals where people celebrate at home. All the way down to even experiences built around nostalgia. We just did a folk edition in Bangalore. When we started in Delhi, also, I think the collection of the 5 chefs that we had, the idea was that each very different cuisines, and how do they interpret a given theme, which was nostalgia and memories for them, into a coherent menu, each of them contributing a couple of dishes. So that's going to be the journey going forward. The extension of the soul food menu for us is also how do we take it home, because we've just been closing a couple of orders of people who are looking to do a curated menu across different chefs as a catering kind of an experience at home, where we're partnering.
How many say you generally do it on weekends, don't you?
Yes, yes.
And so in the last say, 10 or 15 weekends, what has been the average number of responses? How many portions or how many orders have you been able to sell?
Yeah, so we generally do open up orders on, say, a Thursday or Friday, and orders are open for between 18 to 24 hours. So it's a pre-order for the Saturday or Sunday, and on that about 18 to 24 hour kind of a window, we see around 150 orders. So the thing is, we see the challenge is that, and also the offering is that it's limited stock. We ask chefs to keep it limited. These are dishes that are not going to come back for some time. And that's what we've been seeing. Delhi was week 1 last weekend, and we also kept the delivery area really limited. But we're going to open it out in the coming weeks. So it's going to be interesting.
So for Delhi, who was doing the delivery?
So the Delhi menu were 5 chefs. There was Young Duke's team at Sidecar. There was Radhika Kandelwal at Fig and Maple, Kainaz at Rustam Bonu, the girls that moved in Delhi, and Ruchira Hun from Iqbal had done one of the dishes.
I was saying, which agency was handling the delivery in Delhi?
Oh, the delivery. Oh, sorry. So we had tied up with this company called Lala Move, and the plan is to kind of have them as a partner across Delhi and Bombay. Bangalore, as of now, picks up their food, but I think in the coming weeks we will be looking at moving to a delivery format. Because in Bangalore we have a central location where the chefs kind of combine for the food to be.
Right. So it's interesting. I mean, you're getting what 150 plus orders per weekend. It adds up to quite a bit of sort of heft, if you and also it gives a promise that more can happen in the space. So Rohit, like you have heard everyone, and at Hyatt Regency New Delhi was the first to get off the mark and to start its home delivery business. It was almost a week, I think, or 2 weeks after lockdown. And you were of course intimately associated with this whole movement forward. Can you tell us from your experience, like what has done well, what hasn't done well, when it comes to home delivery, and what are the kinds of audience feedback you've been getting? And more importantly, is there money to be made? I mean, is it a business proposition with a bottom line, profit involved in it.
Sure. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very honored to be here, and thank you so much. So I think when we started doing delivery, I mean, till now, as Mr. Kalra said, we've always been a very dining experience oriented restaurants, and most of them are 20, 25 years old. So the intention was always to make sure that the quality of the food remains the same when it reaches the guest. The biggest challenge when we started doing deliveries was to what to serve and what not to serve. I mean, what is the food which will be at least 90% of the quality or 95% of the quality what it remains in the restaurant. And I think that's where the biggest challenge was. Another challenge, which we faced quite a lot when we kind of started was the delivery bit. Although we tied up with Food Cloud, and once we tied up with them, we had our own set of people. It was like our own team who was who's working with us now. And I think these two were kind of the biggest challenges which we had to overcome. Of course, the five-star hotels are built for, I mean, all the restaurants are built in separate kitchens. So to get them all together and create an independent kitchen was another challenge. So these were the challenges.
What was the pricing? Because that is the question. I mean, in fact, when I put up, like in the invitation for today's webinar, this on my Facebook page, this raging discussion going on about pricing now. Yeah, so what is your take on it?
So, two very important aspects, when, in our all our restaurants, especially the highlight is the food. I mean, the ingredients are the highlights. The ingredients have not changed. Rather, we have always changed the menu accordingly. So, a certain sauce, which is used to make a certain dish, of course, it will still price the same. It will be still on the same price for us. We have made sure that the pricing remains intact what we have in the restaurants. However, we have a huge food and beverage loyalty program, which is called as Club at the High. 60 to 70% of the total orders actually are from Club at the High. And the kind of value which Club at the High adds in terms of commerce, I think people will, I mean, our guests are already finding it that it's not expensive at all. I mean, they're not.
And you're giving them a 25% discount.
Yes, yes.
In fact, that is, Atul, again, coming to price points, Moria, is one restaurant which is kept, which has changed the business of pricing for Indian food. I'm not just saying more, the ITC hotels, you've taken Indian food to a certain level and you've kept the prices also at a certain level. I mean, you haven't said that, okay, just because we are not European food, we'll be pricing ourselves 30% lower. They've been quite aggressive and quite on the higher side for pricing. Now, in the new home delivery situation, have you had to make compromises on pricing, or is the pricing the same?
See, it's a very interesting question. What happens in the whole home delivery? You need to hit the sweet spot. So what we did was, like in a hotel, you have all-day dining and you have a specialty. So that's the reason we have these two different formats. What we have come up with, one is the flavors, which is an all-day dining kind of thing, where you get your comfort food, your sandwiches and your pastas and your few curries and rice and rotis and that kind of stuff. That's a different kind of a menu. And also we've added a local love, which is the local specialities. So regional specialities we have added in that. And then we have a specialty menu. So what we have done is we price them differently. And obviously we had to compromise a little on in terms of our pricing from from the listing prices in the restaurants. Yes, we've done that part of it, but not that much of a difference. But if somebody who's going to have a signature restaurant cuisine, will definitely, people are missing it. Like Zorawar said, he was missing the food and he came to pick it up and he had that food. So that demand is there. And we have kept a connect with our customers, and our people are. So that demand is there, and we're creating that demand. And
standing on the sea and everything. She also liked my explanation for why.
I think there's some
Hello,
disturbance.
hello. Excuse me. Just 1 minute, please. There's some disturbance here. Yeah, please. Can you continue?
Yeah. So we've done. I think we are getting there, and our pricing. We have not got any feedback on that, and people are willing to do that. And if you look at average order values, that's very encouraging the way it's going at this point of time. Even on the all day dine, the flavors menu, even if you see the average order value which is going there, whether it's through our home delivery or takeaway or through the e-commerce partners, it is very interesting the way it's coming up to be. And it's we keep talking to our e-commerce partners also. Even they are seeing it that it's a revelation for them as well. So there is a segment which is existing and the market is expanding. And that's why I'm very confident that though the experience is a very little, a few months probably.
I'm particularly intrigued by this new phenomenon of home parties, where people actually get food not from the neighborhood restaurant, but from specialty restaurants, say Dampok or Bukhara, and serve them. Now this is something very new. I mean, I've not heard about it in the past. Do you think it offers a lot of hope and a business model for you?
So it is, this was always existing. So if I want to do a 15 to 20 people dinner at my place, I would get some Bukhara kebabs. I will get Dampuk biryani. I will get some korma kariya salan from there. So I will compile a menu like that for a home party. So it was there. But now we have come forward and created those kind of menus for 4, 6, 8, 10 people, where we price it like that and we can deliver that at home for your home parties.
Right. So that's again a very interesting and heartening development. I think a lot of people will find it easier to have a party at home than before, especially because of this. I mean, I think it's quite a stupid government rule that you cannot serve liquor in restaurants. I see no point in having restaurants open if you can't serve liquor.
Liquor at home.
Yeah, I mean, at least at home you can serve anything. So I'm sure, Anurag, another reason for your... what is that?
Somebody is raining now, I can see that.
Oh, it's not serious raining, it's serious rains are taking place somewhere. Okay, so Anurag, you've heard the jury seems to be quite. I mean, you had this big logout movement before lockdown, and you really took the aggregators to task for the kind of commissions they were charging. Do you think in this COVID scenario and post-COVID, the aggregators will find that restaurants will have reconciled themselves to life with them rather than life without them?
So, Rishita, let me clarify that logout was never against the delivery aggregators. It was against the dine-in. With the delivery aggregators, we engaged in talks. There were lots of pressures within the fraternity to announce a logout on delivery, but we chose not to. We wanted to give peace a chance. Now, the thing is, I am very certain that aggregators are a good addition to the ecosystem. But the terms of engagements have to be more equitable than what they are. And I believe the primary reason for where we are a few. Number one is, there is no clear national e-commerce policy vis-a-vis food. That's number one. So, people are playing around with rules. Number two, in last couple of years, the aggregators have driven this narrative left, right, and center that Indian consumers only seek discount and they don't care about the quality. And I think that is the most unfortunate and probably incorrect narrative to peddle. It's a very lazy way to offer discount to get customers. I don't call it a very smart way to get a customer. But that is the only tool that every aggregator has used in last 2 years to get aggregators. And some of them have just bitten the, dust completely because of that. Why did Food Panda go away? Only because of this mad rush to discount and fund the discount. So any system wherein neither aggregators are making money, you saw Zomato results, they've lost almost $300 million last year. You look at restaurants, we are losing money because of these year-round discounts and heavy commissions. The government is losing money because year-round discounts means lesser tax collection. So who is benefiting in all this? Nothing but the enterprise value of these handful of aggregators. And that is why I believe it's time to recast the rules and bring in a very strict policy around e-commerce. We need to coexist on mutually agreed terms. End of the day, what is an aggregator? So before I go to my next part of the answer, an aggregator is nothing but a neutral marketplace where buyer and seller can come and do business on their own mutually agreed terms. But in reality, what is happening, Sarishta, and everybody will know here, is that they control the entire ecosystem. If you don't take the complete bouquet of service right up to the delivery, you can't even list your brand on their platforms. You know, they decide how much discounts is to be run. If I have to draw a parlance to say a non-virtual store, it's like a mall deciding how much discount is to be given to by every aggregator, by every shopkeeper. That's not how it works. So now I think they understand it, and I think they are all riding what I call a Frankenstein right now. They don't know how to get off it because it's a duopoly right now, and that duopoly means that if one cedes a little space, the other one will just get too strong on it. They don't understand that in their pursuit for this market share, they are actually hurting the whole sector. Now, with other players like Google coming in, and Google very clearly is not going to do the last mile delivery. They are very, very clear. They are already unbundling the services. And nobody has the kind of reach like Google in terms of search. Nobody has the kind of, they already have tasted success with their first transactional business of Google Pay. The Google Map is anyway one of the most used tools by every delivery aggregator. So I believe this is a step in the right direction. And I am very sure that Google has its heart in the right place. They don't want to own the ecosystem. They are very clear. They are looking to partner with restaurants and create a gateway for easy transaction between consumers and us. And that is where I see a big change can be expected.
Right. So, and I think Amazon is also very much in
Amazon
the line.
is doing a little bit of test right now in Bangalore.
Right.
I'm sure Sumanna will know about it, but right now it's not really hitting the large things. But, I wouldn't be surprised if some homegrown giants in India also come up in a big way in this space.
One of them, of course, is the NRAI. You yourself are developing your.
We are facilitators. See, what we said, Dada, if you remember, was very clearly these aggregators have become like digital landlords, and we need to take some control back in our own hands. And NREI has announced 3 tech initiatives. One is already making a difference in the lives of most, which is your digital ordering. I mean, where everybody else was talking of 6% of the sale and, my payment gateway and all. Now we have come to a stage where, because we came with ₹1 price tag for every transaction with .pay, I think now people have come to 80 paisa also.
Very good.
So this is number one. Number two is we are looking to launch a countrywide loyalty program. That's also almost at the completion. It's just that we are waiting for the lockdown to get over to make an announcement.
Right.
And last is App Pet Peeve, the delivery business.
Wow.
Now, let me clarify, we are not building an app.
Okay.
We are not building an app, but we understand the pain points of our restaurant partners. And I think I'm answerable to my consumers and my restaurant partners more than an aggregator. So we are covering all those aspects. It will be far more economical the way it is shaping up. It is backed by one of the most trusted names in the fintech business in India or tech business in India. I'm not at the liberty of revealing beyond that right now.
Right.
But yeah, it will change the way things are happening. We understand the pain point. It is not a valuation game for us. And let me also assure you that we are not even looking to profiteer out of it. And last thing, Sarishda, you know, based on what we are doing, UAE restaurateurs have already launched their own app last week. I inaugurated about 10 days back. And they are already doing it. About 450 restaurants have already joined hands there. And they are taking on the local giants there. This is the way to go. It's not about fighting with the aggregators. It is like if you don't come up with a solution which is good for everyone, then everybody will start taking care of their own interest. Then you must remember as a broker that you don't own anything. What people are buying are my products. Okay.
So very, very interesting. Yeah. And they're not only buying your products, you know, their data should be with you. I mean, which is right now not the case.
Exactly. I mean, when somebody is ordering a dal Bukhara, he's ordering from Bukhara. He's not ordering from a Swiggy or a Zomato. Right. So how is the consumer not belonging to Bukhara?
That's right.
I mean, that's exactly what I'm saying. Lack of national e-commerce policy means that these guys are, they have learned how to misuse it. They are misusing it left, right, and center.
Okay, so Zorawar, you know, you are also very actively involved with NRAI. What was
leading light?
You got three. You got another leading light. AD Singh is also, you know, sort of one of the leading lights. You know, so Zorawar, tell us, you know, what do you think about, you know, because we cannot talk about home deliveries and not talk about aggregators. You know? What kind of, you know, delivery, I mean, the last mile delivery model you see emerging in this whole game?
You know, as Anurag said, I think it's important to rationalize and reset the rules of engagement. We're not against the delivery aggregators at all.
Absolutely.
I think it can be an important part of the ecosystem. The deals have to become a lot more sensitive to the needs of the restaurant industry. Information sharing is just one of the things. Commission is just one of the things. I think overall there has to be a sense of harmony that exists in the sector. I think the COVID sector has taught a lot of things even to the aggregators. They have actually, even before the COVID, had already moved away from heavy discounts on delivery. And I'm hoping that that continues. I'm hoping that does not rear its ugly head again. Because if heavy discounting comes into play in this kind of a scenario where restaurants are anyway facing an existential crisis, the problem is only going to get further exacerbated. So,
in fact, it's just, you know, like for instance, you know, talking about, say, the bow tie package, you know, you have spent a lot of money on packaging, you know. Now, of course, you know, you have to recover that cost. Now, do you think, you know, your pricing for your products covers all the heads? And you're still better off because you're not being, you know, squeezed by some commission, which is like 25 to 27%.
See, one thing is that definitely the aggregators help in funneling orders to you. But as the NRAI is working in certain initiatives that will make the restaurant industry a little bit more self-reliant. You see, there are, and Sumanna was talking about, you know, how he's going to set up eventually a last mile delivery setup. The good thing is there are a lot of players that have entered the fray. There is a company called Pidge that is being very aggressive. In fact, I'm seeing more Pidge scooters roam around Delhi than even, you know, the other aggregators. There is Delivery, DELHID.
Yeah, Delivery, yeah. So there are a lot of Hyatt Regency is using Food Cloud.
Yeah, Food Cloud is really big. The thing is that these have given the restaurants an alternative to set up their own delivery systems. There are some of my friends that have been delivering for years. There's a very famous restaurant here in Gurgaon called Chona's that is got a huge chunk of the delivery market, and they've never used an aggregator. 90% of the time they see their own scooters roaming around on the streets. What's happening now in the new ecosystem, the post-COVID world, is that there are a lot of options. You know, the Prime Minister keeps saying Atmanirbhar Bharat. I want to add to that and say Atmanirbhar restaurant sector. You know, we are being self-reliant in a way. We are being able to create our own websites. There are amazing payment gateways available. So if as a small restaurant guy, you want to set up your own website, your own payment gateway, and your own last mile delivery, all of this can be outsourced. So you don't have to have any technical capability. You don't need an IT department. You can just pay somebody. Literally, the entire cost of all of this can be under 1 lakh rupees, even much lower. 50,000 rupees can get a website. and the payment gateway setup and the deal that you do with your page or lookalike is going to depend on your volume of orders. But the fact is that you can become self-reliant. Again, I'm not saying that the funneling aspect of the aggregators should be disregarded. I think they do help in funneling. They're still a big platform. But at the same time, rules of engagement have to become more fair and balanced. I think that's the way to take this this world forward, because you have to understand, restaurants were already the highest failure rate industry in the world. After the COVID, that mortality rate, which was already at over 90% within the first year, is going to become morbid. And you're going to look at a state of closures of standalone restaurants that is unprecedented. And look at the loss of jobs. We're the second highest employer of human capital in India after agriculture. If 25% of restaurants shut down and we employ 8 million people, that's 2 million people that just lost a job. So a lot is at stake.
That's right. And I think, I hope someone sometime realizes these basic numbers and, comes, I mean, if anything, I think restaurants have shown that they are very Atmanirbhar, They try to get support from the government, but kuch to mila nahi.
We are a very resilient lot, Dada. So, जो भी हो जाए, हम जिंदा रहना जानते हैं.
So, AD, what is your take on all this? The aggregator.
Suresh, actually, I wanted to comment on something you said earlier about how difficult it is for us right now with the liquor ban.
You're right.
And, a panel like this, not to be listening, I'm sure that it could reach the right ears. So what NRI is suggesting to the government, we appreciate the government's worry about drinking, reducing people's concerns over social distancing, leading to further flare up. We also the pictures from Soho last weekend, which were obviously shocking. So NRI's suggestion to the government is that for now, at least remove the liquor ban in restaurants on tables. Allow people to have a beer with their pizza, wine with their pasta, a drink with their curries. Allow that as first step. And then a second step, you can open it up entirely.
Right.
But we really need it now. I mean, we're going through such a difficult time.
Yeah, as I keep saying that, this is the longest period of dry days we have seen in our lifetime. So it's really unfortunate that this happened. But in Gujarat, you can get a certificate saying you're suffering from alcohol withdrawals.
No, but Dada, on a serious note, what is the big reason for this? It's our decades-old socialist mindset. In our country, eating out is a luxury and drinking out is a sin. And look at what UK is doing. They're actually subsidizing your meals if you're going out in August.
In fact, that's one question. I think the UK Chancellor of Exchequer, who's an Indian, I mean, he's, in fact, the son-in-law of a very famous man.
Narayan Murthy.
Narayan Murthy. Now, he will, I think, go down in the annals of restaurant history as being one of the greatest men ever born, because he has given a 50%. Like the government is giving a 50% discount. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the 195 nations in the world to have done it. So obviously, he deserves his place in the history. Absolutely. And it's a very smart move if you think about it. What he's trying to do is, he's saying, let us fuel consumption, because the engine of economic revival will happen only with the boost in consumption. So he's putting money in the hands of the people to spend. And it's a brilliant thing to do. Because I very strongly believe that hospitality is the fuel that will propel the engine of revival.
Right. That's so. There are some questions which have come up, and I think one of them, Somanna, I'll address to you. This is from Anshuman Sood, who's the Home Chef Associations of India founder. No, he was saying that, look, we have a lot of delivery, options and services going around. How can home chefs sort of come together and, promote regional cuisines through, a service like yours, this whole company?
Right. So I think that's one of the things that we have focused on, at least in Bangalore. Some of our menus, after I think the first couple of menus, what we've done is that keeping this chef as the hero of the entire story, there will be 2 or 3 core chefs in every menu who will be known names, restaurant chefs. But along with them, for a given theme, we will bring in lesser known home chefs or these discoveries that we have made, this small little restaurant. I mean, at the end of the day, the entire ethos of Soul Company is discovery, and it was discovery through people, right? And I think whether it has been, for instance, our Eid format that we did, we worked with some of these legacy caterers of Bangalore who, lit up many weddings and parties with their halim and things like that. And we said, what if you bring them together with, chefs, well-known chefs doing their riff-offs of popular Eid dishes? So now what's happened is that over a period of time, we started getting a lot of inquiry from home chefs. We have like a tasting panel of the core chefs who are saying that this is somebody who makes the cut. And obviously it's subjective, but in terms of the entire storytelling, is this somebody who fits into the theme for a given week that we're looking to do? And that's something that we're going to start doing in Delhi also soon, because there's so many amazing stories there. And, just coming back to an earlier point that was made was just, and I can see this across everyone on the panel, right? I think just collaboration is at its highest, and I think a lot of, conversation around self-reliance really comes from people coming together, whether it's the industry or whether it's, top-notch chefs, looking at home chefs and saying that, hey, listen, let's work together. It's once a week. This is a theme that we can do together. Our names can be together. Brings a lot of validation both sides of the conversation. So, and to be very honest, I think all of us must be seeing in our own neighborhoods the emergence of the, sourdough baking home chef. And I think it's an amazing story. And I think what will happen, I feel, is post-COVID, post things going back to the new normal, there will be some names that will emerge from there with possibly an idea of how to create a business. And like Zorawar mentioned, it is that easy to kind of at least put together a front shop. It's just a matter of, can you deliver quality, consecutively over certain weeks, which we are kind of giving some of these chefs an opportunity to do.
Right, right. Zorawar, one of the questions that is asked is that how are DIY kids doing? You had a DIY salad, so a lot of people are sending DIY drink mixes. How are DIY kids doing?
So I'll tell you from our experience, we just started delivery 2-3 days ago, so I don't really have much internal data to provide, but I have been obviously, whenever we start an initiative, we do a market study and all of that. I'll tell you, there's a business in the US, it's called Blue Apron. It just quadrupled in its valuation during the COVID times, simply because it always did DIY kits from various restaurants. It was like an aggregator for DIY kits, and from chefs, from home cooks, from good restaurants. And they provided these kits delivered to home. It's tripled in valuation. So, or quadruple, I don't know, maybe it's quadruple now. Last time I checked, it was several times higher. And the reason for that,
what's the company called?
Blue Apron.
Blue Apron.
And it was just a DIY company that did beautiful DIY kits. I think intrinsically it is definitely, like I said, another avenue along with delivery. Would I just open up my restaurant and only do DIY? No, because intrinsically most Indians will still prefer to have delivered food. A lot of them do not have help at home. They're tired. They had an exhausting day. The last thing they want to do is cook another meal. Kitchens, in a lot of cases, are not set up for setting up DIY kits and all of that. But is it a promising avenue? Absolutely is, especially for people that have passion for food, people that like to see the ingredients and eat at their leisure. Cooked food has expiry date. Raw food or semi-cooked food, you can probably keep for a little bit longer if you freeze it. The taste can also be matched. So I think it definitely is a good thing. It's a good positive thing. Should restaurants include it on their portfolio? Yes, they should include it. Should it be the only thing they do out of their restaurant? Well, if you're an established restaurant, please send out cooked food as well, because I don't think I will take a dal bukhara in a DIY format. I'd rather just have it fully cooked sent to me so I can enjoy it, immediately out of the box. So I think that's my
because of course, knowing how dal bukhara is cooked, I don't think it's meant for DIY.
2 days aside.
No, that dabba is very good.
That dabba is now become a showpiece in my kitchen. It's being used for different purposes. So tell me, Rohit, you have heard, everything, and you have now at the end of about 3 months of home deliveries. What would you recommend to your colleagues, in the industry who still haven't ventured into this business?
I think one very important thing, and it's a very it's a personal opinion also, that apart from being a revenue stream, apart from being a source of income, it is also home deliveries in a 5-star hotel format brings a lot of positivity. Why positivity? Because we have 5 restaurants actually. 5 restaurants not being there, lockdown is a big kind of negative impact on everything. The moment you do home deliveries, your kitchens are in action, your processes are all in place. The biggest thing is that you are still in contact with your guest. If you are in contact with your guest, the branding will never fade out. If you don't want the brand name to fade out from a customer's mind, then you should go for home deliveries. You can do it in various formats. You can do it only on weekends. You can do it in certain times with your own cars. But I would definitely recommend this to happen. And it's a very challenging thing to do. We have had successful 5 months actually, but we were not successful from day one. It took a lot of effort and a lot of different circumstances which made what we are today.
But now I believe your website, has almost become self-sufficient. I mean, you sort of get enough orders through your. How many orders you get from your website per day?
So now we've reached, I think 20 orders every day out of, let's say 120, 150 orders every day. 20, 25 would come from the website. Weekends, of course, it's a lot more. Because for a guest, somebody asked a question about user experience. And, essentially for a guest to open his smartphone, go to a website, select the dishes, see the food, how does it look like? And then immediately go and pay, and it gets delivered in 45 minutes. Aggregators are doing the same thing as well. I mean, if you become self-sufficient and if you send out a link to your 5,600 loyalty program members, even if 25 of them are ordering every day, I'm very happy. And of course, there are digital ways of diverting business and diverting traffic towards the website, which I think, did for almost a month. And now I think we are quite sustainable.
Right, and as Zorawar was saying, that restaurants, can just outsource this business. They don't even have to have in-house teams doing it. I mean, of course,
it's very easy. I mean, to get the website running, of course, is easy, but to test it with 100 people going to the website every day and giving you different feedback, that is the difficult part. To develop it is the difficult part. But to pay 1 lakh rupees and create a website, very easy.
Right. Okay, so Sumit, you have been hearing everyone very patiently, and so what is your take on it? You're in a unique position of being a restaurant owner, a cloud kitchen operator, and you have done it. I didn't realize that you have been in this business for now 9 years. So what is your take on what is happening today?
I think people are becoming more quality conscious, no doubt. What COVID, post-COVID, what taught us was that our most established brand was doing the best. In the revenues, it was barely got any hit because of COVID. Of course, the new brands, I think, are a little. They are more difficult to establish now. I think the entry barrier in this business has become higher with all the leading brands coming into delivery. It will be that much more difficult for a new brand to suddenly come and start delivering. I think delivery business should be taken as a separate vertical. It should be given the respect that it deserves. Restaurants doing delivery from the dining facility, I don't think there can be a lot of growth. It can be a side business, yes, of course, but if you want to make an impact for you, you have to treat it separately because You have to be quick, you have to be efficient, you have to maintain the quality, and and be able to do the volumes. You can't affect your dine-in customers, with the Swiggy, Zomato riders or your own riders coming in and out of the restaurant. You don't want to disturb your dine-in customers with that, or you don't want to have your chefs being busy, with serving delivery orders while your customers in the restaurant are waiting for their food. So you have to treat these two businesses separately. I think that it's a great opportunity, and the established brands have a very good opportunity here. They do have an advantage over the new brands, but what they do with that advantage is the key, I think.
Right. It's an interesting question that I've seen, from Akanksha Gildial. Now she says with the outcome, with the customer touch points reduced tremendously in the case of home delivery, receiving the parcel, unpacking the parcel, and the actual food. How do brands make sure they still connect with customers in a manner that is not too far removed from the prior dining experience? So Atul, I think Akanksha has a point, and she says that with the customer really hardly relating to the brand physically, how do you still keep the brand alive in his or her mind?
So this question is in terms of home delivery?
Yeah, home delivery, yeah.
All right.
That's
so
it. She's talking about the customer touch points being at the minimum because of home delivery.
So it's a contactless and low touch delivery, but there is no dearth of warmth in it. There is all what you do. If you see in the gourmet couch box what we have designed, if you see how it talks to you, there is a label there. There is a heating manual there. It tells you how to heat up the food, and it's actually talking to you the way it's been designed and packed. So that's where the customer gets the warmth. That's the complete experience of, maybe it's not the same experience when you dine in a restaurant, but at the same time that particular restaurant is still talking to you through all the communication what we have put in that particular box. So that's important. And then you do get a call when we do a home delivery. So the customer also gets a call after delivery 45 minutes, understanding that what the feedback was and how you really enjoyed the food. So the warmth will never go away. How much ever technology, how much ever these barriers come in because of contactless and touchless deliveries, but warmth remains.
Right. So now another question, which is, and I'm going to throw it open to all, which is sort of really, which has got a lot of people very excited about the pricing. So I'll go from one to another. Please tell me what is the range of pricing that you have on your menu. So Atul, start with you.
I think we like I spoke a little earlier about the pricing. We have done a pricing covering quite a bit of range, and our offers, and we have our offers on the home delivery, our offers on the e-commerce platform. So we coming up with lot of value offers as well.
Right.
So I think we will discover a sweet spot somewhere. So far, it's been a good going and good response.
Right. Okay, for whatever you still haven't mentioned any particular price points, but I was told that there was an order which was like 50,000 rupees, in Delhi. Sort of. Does it go up to that much, or it can even go up to higher?
It can. It all depends want and
how much.
So in a restaurant, somebody comes and spends 2,000 rupees also, and somebody spends 50,000 rupees also. So
that's right.
Do what your demand is. We have we can cater to these price points.
That's right. Zorawar, what is the price range for you?
So as you know, we have all different brands that are catering to different wallet sizes of the Indian consumer. So Farzi, for example, has traditionally been a well-priced restaurant. Our APC hovers around $1,200. Bowtie is a premium restaurant. APC hovers around $3,000, $3,500. Same with Masala Library. Papaya is around middle of them, around $1,500-$1,600. For delivery, however, we've done a lot of engineering. We've studied the best models, the models that have the maximum revenue generated, that have the maximum order volume, that have the highest AOV, which is called average order volume, as well as average order price, AOP. So we've done a lot of this scientific research in the background, and what we've done is we've made a customized menu. For example, in Parsi Cafe, a meal for one can cost you as low as 250 bucks or 200 rupees. In MIP, you can actually start as low as 150 bucks and can go up to any amount. If you order a lot of luxury butter chickens and you want to feed an army of 20, you can order a lot from there. But the idea is, and again for Bowtie, of course, we've done none of that. We're sticking to the a la carte menu, sticking to the a la carte pricing, even though our packaging is, as you witnessed, is extremely expensive, and it actually takes away a big chunk of our profitability from that order. And if you add to that the the aggregator commission, you're looking at a much lower margin than dine-in. So that being said, right now the primary thing is to engage with the consumer, and I suggest do your research, study your market. Low meals for one are going to play a key role. So that's my pre-hint to everybody.
Rohit, what has been your sweet spot as far as pricing is concerned?
I think, as I said, we have not, deviated from the restaurant pricing much. However, also keeping in mind that a big chunk, a huge chunk of the total ordering happens through Club at the Hyatt, so they automatically get it on much cheaper pricing than they get in a restaurant. Most importantly, we do these weekly offers and special offers for, on certain days, which kind of brings the whole business towards, on that particular low day. So a 50% on a Tuesday, you'll get a sidewalk bread for 175 bucks. So which is like, selling it on happy hours and sidewalk itself. So the pricing has been steady. We have not, received any such feedback which, kind of pertains to high price. And, if you're doing 120, 150 orders almost, on an average, so it is, it's very important to keep in mind pricing is not.
Fantastic. Anurag, any thoughts on the pricing, and what has been your price points for your home delivered products?
So if you look at Indigo Burger Project or Neel Ki Biryani, my QSR brands, they are something like 300 rupees, 330 rupees. But Indigo Delhi is around 1200 rupees on delivery. But having said that, I don't know, it's about value for money. You cannot look at these pricing in absolute terms, Orishda. It's about value for money. Otherwise, we are also coming to the same narrative that everybody is only seeking discount. It's not. I think people are very happy to pay a price for a good product.
Right.
I'll tell you about a friend of mine.
I think both ITC and Hyatt have proved that, they haven't brought the price down from the restaurant pricing,
No, end of the day, there is a reason why something is popular, something is more loved, and there is no harm in putting a premium on something that you think you do better than others. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. We need to get out of this defensive mindset that discount is the only way to. It's a very lazy way, as I said a little while earlier, to earn consumers. Discounts, no. I'm very anti-discount. I believe I have a product. If it is good, people will pay a price for it. And our consumers are like that. I'll share a data point with you, Dada. I was talking to one of the big aggregators amongst the top 2 that we have. And I said, how many people actually go and search, say, biryani or a pasta or a burger, and how many people actually search by the name of the brand? He said 2/3 of our people know which brand, what they want to order. Is only 1/3 who really go and search for what is cheapest or where the deal is available. So I think there is a merit in what I'm saying, that it's about value for money. It's not about the absolute value of the sum you paid.
Right.
The value you experience.
Right. So, Eddie, you tend to go along with Anurag, and what are your thoughts?
Suresh, absolutely. I think India is very much about value for money, except for a couple of the markets we're in where it's about deals and prices. But by and large, it's about that. Our own experience with the delivery business, Fatty Bao is our most popular brand for delivery. And, there are extra charges for the delivery business, which eat into the margin. But we've kept the prices the same as we have in the restaurant. For some of the others, soda bottle, for example, we've created a whole new menu around our popular items in powers. So that's at a very good price point, as low as $200. You can order, and it's delicious, it's different, it's tasty. For some of our olives, we've created menus which are more in the cafe direction, which is what people are really looking for, easy to eat, etc. Obviously, those things are lesser priced than the items, the main courses in the restaurant. But the value for money is our basic philosophy, just like Anurag said as well.
Right. Good. So I think, there seems to be a consensus clearly emerging. Sumit, any thoughts? And what your price points, you said, are from rupees 200 to rupees 1500.
Yeah, so we have 3 brands operating between 200 to 300 AOV, and 2 brands are between 600 to 800, and then Spice Market operates at 1200 to 1500. That's the sort of AOV. So we are, but I agree with everybody else what they said. It's not about price points; it's about value. I think delivery should not be viewed as a cheap alternative. The costs are higher. The packaging costs are there, which are not there in dine-in. Aggregator costs or delivery costs are there. So, in fact, we price all of our brands slightly on the, with the premium compared to the similar brands in that in each of their segments. And I think everybody should, consider, charging right, value for the money that they're providing. They should not be thinking about, price points or discounts too much.
Right. So, Samanda, your thoughts, and then we'll move to Mr. Dadu.
Sure. So I think we from day one followed some of what Anurag was saying, right? I think the entire philosophy around what we do at Soul Company was that let's not take the customer for granted and let's not live with these assumptions that we have about the customer. I think the fact that we were doing a specials menu, which means dishes that are going to come back onto this menu anytime soon, meant that we were looking to kind of always price it at what fine dining restaurants would do with their specials menu, and also it depended on which chef it was. If it was a well-known restaurant chef versus a home chef, on an average, if you look at, say, appetizers are anywhere between 300 to 500, and main courses are between 700 to 800. So average transaction values that we see on an order are upwards of about 2200. So I think what's given us confidence there, and feedback is instant, right? The very next day we are on calls with customers, talking to them. They're messaging us on Instagram the moment they're eating, telling us what they feel about the food. So I feel that I think this value for money versus value for offering, right? I think those are the two distinctions that we've been trying to understand, which is, am I giving you an offering that is genuinely unique, and therefore does the value, compete with that, and then obviously just in terms of the quality of the food. So we've been pleasantly surprised because Bangalore doesn't spend as much as other cities without eating, but to see those values for an order in for a family of 2 or 3 was without alcohol, obviously. It was quite interesting.
Right. Interestingly, if you have a chance, you guys must read, a gentleman from Pizza Tuscany. He sounds very French, though, Jean-Claude Morel. He has sort of said that his company deals with meal kit deliveries, and they are looking at India as a potential market. Obviously, the news about India suddenly waking up to home deliveries seems to have traveled quite far. He's gone to Italy. Obviously, chefs there are looking at the Indian market. They're also looking at ways to enhance their incomes. So interesting. In case you guys want to figure out, you want to follow up on him or get he's given all his coordinates. You can check with him.
Sure.
Yeah, and last, because there's some other, one question is, and I don't know, Zorawar, are you still, I don't see your face on the screen, but are you around? Can you hear me, or AD? Yes, Zorawar, yeah? Can you tell me, this person says, how can we actually, we are not a very well-known brand. How do we break into the market without giving discounts?
Firstly, they're on the right track by not pursuing discounts, which is, I think, the absolute worst way to build your business. I think they'll, for any new, and obviously it's become a lot harder now in the post-COVID world, where without an existing presence or without a storefront, and I'm assuming this for delivery, so I'm going to answer it delivery in mind. It is going to be a little bit of an uphill task. Having a storefront or a physical location helps because people are the number one priority for everybody who's ordering food in is food safety for them and their families. So if you don't have a storefront, if you're starting out a new business, if it's not already started, I would suggest wait it out for a few months, see how the tides are flowing, see how the what direction the winds are flowing in, and then take that call. If you've already started, I think the best way is to do a lot of personalized marketing. Nothing works better in the food industry than word of mouth. And if your product is good, find out a close list of people, make them try the food. If they talk about it, word of mouth will start spreading. Social media will play its key role. You should use influencers where you can. However, again, it's all about the quality of the products. Don't waste the money in social media or marketing. Put that money into the product, because if the product is good, you will eventually get takers. And there are no shortcuts, so it will take time. I mean, if you don't have a physical storefront and you don't have a brand that people recognize, it will take time for people to know when to actually, where to order from, who are you. They'll have to rely on word of mouth. Fulfill every order with a lot of integrity and passion. If the reviews start going up, if the word of mouth starts spreading, you'll eventually be on the right track.
Right, great. And I think interesting thought, lots of learning from this session. Thank you. I will now request Mr. दादू सर, आप अगर कुछ हमें कुछ शब्द बोले, और आप कुछ अगर IHE 2020 के बारे में बोलने चाहते हैं तो सब लोग बहुत उत्सुक हैं सुनने के लिए।
भट्टाचार्य साहब बोलना चाहेंगे। सबसे पहले तो सर, ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ IHE 2020 एंड IEML, हमारे जितने भी रेस्पेक्टिव पैनलिस्ट हैं, जो जितने भी इंडस्ट्रियल सपोर्टर्स हैं अक्रॉस द 55 कंट्रीज, मैं सभी का अपने इस 18th वेबिनार में सबका आभार करता हूँ, स्वागत करता हूँ। सब लोग अपना कीमती समय निकाल कर यहाँ बैठे हैं, डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं, सारे विचार दे रहे हैं। और मैं समझता हूँ कि जो कोविड-19 है, सबको बहुत तरह की परेशानियों में पूरा दुनिया आई है, और हमारी जो हॉस्पिटलिटी इंडस्ट्री है ये विशेष रूप से परेशान है, बहुत ज़्यादा संकट है हमारी इंडस्ट्री पर। और जो हम नए सब्जेक्ट्स के ऊपर बात कर रहे हैं, जैसे हमने होम डिलीवरी के ऊपर एक सब्जेक्ट लिया, इसके ऊपर हमारे जो इतना पैनलिस्ट है सब जान सुंदर हैं, सब अपनी अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी के बिल्कुल सीनियर मोस्ट लोग हैं, और सबने बहुत अच्छी से सारी बातों विचार किया। तो मैं समझता हूँ कि सब चीज़ों से हम लोग बाहर आएंगे और एक दूसरे की बातों को समझकर हम चीज़ों को सही कर लेंगे, स्टेब्लिश कर लेंगे। और जो बात कही हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब ने, आत्मनिर्भर भारत, आत्मनिर्भर का मतलब उनका स्वयं से निर्भरता पैदा नहीं है। आप कभी सरकार से कोई उम्मीद करें, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। अपने हमें स्वयं से निर्भरता पैदा करनी है सर, अब हम करेंगे। और मैं इसमें ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि मैं भी जैसे सिरेमिक मैन्युफैक्चर करता हूँ, तो अभी मेरा जो इसमें योगदान रहेगा आने वाले इस सिस्टम में, होम डिलीवरी सिस्टम में, मैं टेराकोटा के कुछ हाइजेनिक प्रोडक्ट डेवलप कर रहा हूँ, जो कि होम डिलीवरी में हमारे जैसे लाइक प्लेट्स के साथ साथ डोंगा, बाउल्स एंड हांडीज, ये हम विद लीड क्लाउडेड में मैन्युफैक्चर कर रहा हूँ। और साथ में इवन मैं आपका ये कुकर भी बना रहा हूँ, जो कि हमारा इस इंडक्शन प्लेट पर कुकर भी काम आएगा, प्लेट बाउल्स भी काम आएंगे। आप घर में दोबारा गर्म भी कर सकते हैं, दोबारा खाना भी बना सकते हैं। कैसा कॉन्सेप्ट बाजार में देंगे कि होटल इंडस्ट्री का खाना भी इस गेस्ट जो होगा वो इस लालच में मंगाएगा कि चलो मेरे साथ मेरे को कुछ टेराकोटा की पॉटरी भी साथ में आ रही है खाने के, इसके लिए एक नया सब्जेक्ट होगा, नई चीजें होंगी। कोशिश करें सर, बहुत जल्दी हम इसको लॉन्चिंग देंगे। सब जितने भी हमारे पैनलिस्ट हैं सबसे मैं संपर्क करूंगा अपना एक प्रेजेंटेशन सबको भेजूंगा और बाकी मैं सबको दोबारा से धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि आप सब प्रयास कर रहे हैं इंडस्ट्री को सर्वाइव करने के लिए। इतना ही कहना चाहूंगा सर। थैंक यू।
Thank you. Thank you very much. Remember, IHE 2020 is still some time away, but the dates have been announced 2nd to 5th December.
हाँ, एक बात मैं कहना चाहूंगा, बिल्कुल सर, जरूरी बात है। अभी हम लोग जुलाई में खड़े हैं और हमारा ये जो चलिए IHE शो होना था वो अगस्त में होना था, लेकिन सरगम करने को देखते हुए, इंडस्ट्री की डिमांड को देखते हुए हम लोग इस शो को वर्चुअल ट्रेड शो करेंगे। IHE वर्चुअल ट्रेड शो होगा जो दिसंबर 1 में हम कर रहे हैं, 5 दिसंबर। यानी कि हमारे पास अभी अगस्त, सितंबर, अक्टूबर, नवंबर 4 महीने बीच में और है। तब तक इसमें 4 मार्केट भी खुल जाएगा और इंडस्ट्री भी सर्वाइव करना शुरू कर देगी। अभी हमारे जितने एक्टिविटर्स हैं उनको भी कुछ बिजनेस मिलेगा और जो विजिटर्स हैं उनको भी कुछ देखने को, चीजों को देखने को मिलेंगी। तो अभी डेट हम लोगों ने बहुत सोच समझ कर डिसाइड की है, 2 से 5 दिसंबर। मैं समझता हूँ कि ये अच्छा एक डेट रहेगा, अच्छा इन दिनों क्लाइमेट रहेगा, बिजनेस के हिसाब से भी ठीक रहना चाहिए, ऐसी उम्मीद करते हैं।
थैंक यू, धन्यवाद।
मैं सबको निमंत्रण देता हूँ कि शो में आप लोग विजिट जरूर करिएगा अपनी पूरी टीम के साथ। शो में देखिएगा क्योंकि हम तो 500-600 एक अच्छे एक्टिविटीज को शो में रहे हैं, तो डिफरेंट प्रोडक्ट्स आपके पास आपको शो में दिखाई देंगे जो भी आने वाले समय में हिंदुस्तान में बन रहे हैं, बिकेंगे। आप प्लीज शो को विजिट जरूर करिएगा। थैंक यू।
Thank you very much. Well, hope to see you soon, and I hope better times come soon. Till then, as I say, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep cooking up the good things of life. Thank you. See you soon.